Hey guys, Sierra Bailey here with Accel Commercial Real Estate. The video you're watching ties into our event in June, Accelerate. If you want to learn more about what you see today, scan the QR code on your screen or click the link in the description to get your tickets now before early bird pricing runs out. Enjoy the video.
So kind of go back to when you were talking about during this journey, you listened to, when you quit your job and during this time, you sold those 8 months, you were talking about listening to a lot of podcasts, things like that. So
Yeah.
what kind of podcasts were you, certain people, was Big Pockets, was it, Bigger
Bigger
Pockets, things like that?
Pockets.
What did you find most useful for you as you started this journey?
Yeah, Bigger Pockets was great. I bet I've listened to 75% of those episodes. The Jake and Gino podcast, very good as well. Learned a lot from those guys. Still do. I still listen to stuff. And then just coming to real estate events. You hear about when I would go to the rent events. A lot of people that buy houses are very creative in how they buy them, like investors. They're borrowing money from 3 different people, and just the way they find deals, and a lot of that translates into commercial real estate as well. So I was learning things from them that private lending, different banking relationships, and how to structure deals, and that was also very helpful. So podcast in person.
So you so you got your 32 unit.
Mhm.
So then while you got that, you come by, the same gentleman calls and says, hey, I got 57.
Mhm.
So now all of a sudden you go, hey, I got 32, now I got 57.
Uh-huh.
So all of a sudden it's like, most people are probably happy to do that, right? So, because, you normally don't find a owner who will carry back even on that 32 unit, but
Right.
then also say, hey, I'd love to be the bank on 57.
Yeah.
I mean,
'Cause
that's very rare.
I would have been scared to
nowadays.
death going to the
Yeah.
bank and asking for a $2 million loan. You don't have a job, and that's honestly how I felt when I bought the first property. Like, you can't buy a house without a job. Try to buy a house without a job. No way, you can't do it.
Yeah.
But the financing is so much different on these things because the tenants are paying the mortgage, and it's a different mindset for sure.
So since that time, so I know you ended up, so you sold both the 32 and the 57, right?
Yep.
Yeah, from there.
Mhm.
And then, and what kind of went behind what went into the decision to sell your 32 and 57?
Well, you called me one day. I said, you called me several times and said, do you want to sell the 32? No, not for sale, not for sale. But anyway, so
I was very convincing. So
very
I was like, Paul, you got to have a number in mind that
right.
you would want to sell that property for.
But so the first one was basically we had a broker call, and so what would do this free opinion of value for you? And then I thought, that's a nice opinion of value. I like that opinion. And so I talked to my
Especially
business.
the number.
Yeah, I talked to my business partner and said, well, do you think we'd want to sell at this number? They got a broker that says he was, and he was like, yeah, let's put it on the market. So that was that. And just one of those things, like, I thought originally that I would hang on to everything forever, and it's, if I can sell it and scale up, that's, I'm going to do that right now. So that's really the decision. It's not like I'm selling to take the money and, go to Mexico for a year or something like that. But
Although you could, but you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So you sold your 32.
Mhm.
you 1031 that into a
1031
48,
that
so
into a
you
48.
kind of,
Yep,
like you say, scaled up.
yep,
I know when you sold your 57, then you bought more additional
yep.
units as
Mhm.
well.
Yeah.
So I know we've talked about multifamily a bit. We'll talk even more on that, but also for those that are, here in person and also zooming in. So Paul doesn't own just multifamily. So I know you also own self-storage. So
Yeah.
kind of tell us, how did you decide, hey, I want to diversify a little bit and get into into
Self-storage.
self-storage? Was that through family relationships? Was that through tell us about that, Joe.
No, so that was my first storage business was the guy that I bought the first apartment complex from and the second apartment complex, loaned me the money and all that. He called me one day and said, "Hey, I've got this little storage facility. It's completely abandoned. It was going in foreclosure. I saved out of foreclosure, paid $85,000 for it. Do you want it?" So I ran some numbers on it. I thought, could be a good deal. And what did he pay? 80 or 85,000. He wanted to make $5,000 on it to sell it. And I said, all right, well, then he changed his mind. He calls back and says, he wanted to make $10,000. I was like, okay, let's do it. And I had actually refinanced the 32 unit complex. And then, so I had some cash from that, did a cash out refi at like 18 months in, pulled $180,000 out because I only put 100 in, and then I got 180,000 out like 18 months later. And then so bought that storage facility from this guy, and it was a junker. And I went through and cleaned all the trash out. It was still full of garbage and rat feces and all that stuff, and put new doors on it, painted it, and then took that thing from 0 occupancy to full in 3 or 4 months. And I like the storage business. Anybody's thinking about getting into self-storage, it's a lot. Number one, the cash flow is more consistent, and it's just easier to deal with people, in my opinion, than apartments, because you're just storing things in it. It's just an empty room. There's nothing you can really tear up, and then when someone moves out, you sweep the floor. You don't have to paint, don't have to put flooring in. No air conditioners should go out unless you got climate control, but they don't go out as much as having a whole bunch of little ones. So yeah, that was the same man that I had
Same
met.
guy? Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't know that. I
yeah,
didn't know
yep,
it was the same guy. Okay.
yep. So got it from him, and then I still got that.
You got 120 unit one, right? So
Yep.
how did you get into that one? Same
So
guy?
no, that was my uncle had a storage at a climate control facility across the street from this one I had just bought, and he was every year he would talk about selling it, or every time he got in a certain mood. Yeah, I want to sell it. I want this number for it. I'd underwrite it. Well, it's not really worth that, it's. And then one day he was in a different mood and came up with another price, and so I refinanced that little mini storage, and then I bought another house and refinanced it, and I had the down payment for this next facility was 900,000. I had to put like was like 180 or something like that down on it. And so basically I'm just using the first property, refinanced it, get more money, go buy another one, refinance it, get more money, and then go buy something else. So it's kind of a train rolling of, refinance and roll, if you will. So, but the kicker to that is, and it's not like you can just go buy anything and all of a sudden it's worth more than it was today. These are all properties that the rents were below market, physically distressed, or something like that. That, like I said, the one was completely vacant. So how much more distressed can you get than that? So yeah, doing work on them.
Yeah.
Not just, sitting back and collecting the checks. So
Question for you. I'm going to switch a little bit back to multifamily,
All right.
because over my, years of helping a lot of, people buy multifamily and all of the good stuff. Usually people, they'll bring all kinds of, inspectors to come in to inspect property and do their own, maybe walk through and all of that good stuff.
Mhm.
So when we sold that 32 unit,
Mhm.
and then you ended up moving into this 48 unit,
Mhm.
I think it's the only time I've went with somebody who we went through, I think we got through all 48 units in probably less than an hour, didn't we? So.
Yeah, maybe an hour and a half.
But you kind of had your own little checklist of things you wanted to look for, and it was, it just seemed to be, 3 or 4 main items
Mhm.
that you kind of looked at that said, okay, to me, these are the important things.
Mhm.
Everything else maybe on a cosmetic side
Mhm.
or something of that sort. So
Yeah.
over your experience, what did you kind of gain from your ownership to where you can go to this kind of property and go through 48 units in less than an hour and basically going, okay, yeah, that one's good. I checked air conditioning and I checked,
Mhm.
whatever, right?
Yeah.
So kind of walk through that a little bit, because that's probably one of the first experiences I've had where somebody would kind of do their own inspection in less than an hour.
Mhm.
Nothing against that, nothing wrong with that,
Yeah.
but very efficient. So
Yeah.
what did you learn over the years to kind of say, hey, these are my important items, everything else is pretty fixed?
Right. Yeah, so there's a couple things that I look for and that I know is going to mitigate the risk. So like your big ticket items are going to be your wiring, your plumbing, if it has asbestos or something hidden like that. And then can you tell if it's physically falling down or if anything is sunk, which, I peeked my head under the crawl spaces of that place.
Yeah.
Everything was very dry, nothing rotted, no settling to speak of. And then just, yeah, everything that's, if it's dirty, if it's nasty, if the lights are old and the cabinet doors are falling off, you can fix all that stuff, pretty cheap. Usually your biggest ticket items are going to be, which I'm not going in and renovating
Right.
kitchens, but if you could, you can literally take a dollar figure and multiply it by 48, and there's your number. Okay, if I need to repair this to get it to this point, here's how much I can pay for it. So, and then I go through and look at the ACs, water heaters, and the appliances to check the age of those. But I guess my philosophy is if somebody's living in the unit, it's the middle of summer, air conditioner probably works. And then, spot check electrical, make sure you don't have, make sure you have breakers. And then actually there's a list of breaker boxes that insurance companies don't like.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. There's like 2 or 3 of them.
Right.
And so look at those. And then, like I said, everything else, you build in a risk, like a safety factor to it. And so far it hasn't done me wrong.
Worked pretty well. So also for those that are watching online, they're zooming in. If you have questions, certainly type them in the chat.
I
And
said that already. I wrote that in the
Oh,
chat. so
okay,
they can
all
see
right.
it.
so then we can answer questions. James, go.
Okay, so before you get to, as far as looking at the appliances, the central unit,
Mhm.
when you, when the opportunity is presented itself to you as far as units,
Mhm.
how do you judge the percentage of income you want to make as opposed to how much you pay for it? So, because I've always heard you should never pay more than, you never pay more for a property
Mhm.
if you can't get at least 10% out of it monthly. So if you bought $100,000 property, you should expect to get
Or you mean like $1,000 a month
right
for $100,000 property? Yeah, yeah, that's a good rule of thumb. And single family duplex, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I put all my stuff in a great big spreadsheet, and your income should be this. You look at the rent roll, make sure that, okay, everybody is paying for the last however much time back you can get the documents. You say, okay, well, this place is bringing in, whatever it is, if it's $5,000 a month, and make sure that that's a trend. You don't want it to be, okay, maybe there's 5 leases at $1,000, but there's only been 2 people living there for the whole year. Okay, that's a red flag. Maybe in your heart that your experience that you can run it better. There's a lot of places like that. Just why is there only 2 people living here? Well, I don't know, you just fix the other 3 units to rent them out. So that comes with experience. If you know the area, there's tenants that want to live there for $1,000 a month, and you can go in and fill it up. That's something that you have to be comfortable with. But yeah, I'll put everything in a spreadsheet, and then income, all the expenses, kind of do a worst case scenario, and then and basically get a value from that. And then all my stuff, I do one set of numbers for now, and then one set of numbers for the future. So
Now, do you have figured into your spreadsheet like maybe 5% vacancy for a year, or?
yeah, so I usually do on multifamily, I usually do 10% just across the board. And I don't know if that's, the appraisers like to use 10%, I think, too, right? What I've seen.
6 to 10.
6 to 10. I always do 10%. So if I'm 90% occupancy, I plan on 90% occupancy, and then anything above that, great. If I fall below 90%, which does happen sometimes when you're renovating units, I do it one by one. Somebody moves out with new flooring, paint, but some people go in, you buy like a 8-unit property or 10 or 50. Some people clear everybody out and start over, but I like to do it slowly.
Now, what about maintenance?
I have a,
Because like if you bought a property, like you were saying, instead of this being your storage building, let's say it's a multifamily.
Yeah.
And so you go in there and you look at it, and this unit is 25 years old. So central unit is gonna, at best, it's gonna do 7 to 10 years.
right, so it's on its way out.
The roof is only gonna do 10, 15, so it's on its way out. So do you take that in consideration, like, okay, now if I buy it now, the roof looks good, but I know in the next 3 to 5 years, I'm gonna have to replace the roof, or I'm gonna have to replace the central unit, hot water heater.
Yeah, so I try to keep enough cash on hand to, if I need to do a roof this year, I can do it. Or if I know it's going to be in 5 years, maybe I don't keep that cash sitting around, but I know that in the future I will need it. So I need to plan for it at some time between now and then. But yeah, maybe on an older property, then the expenses income, and then the expenses, maybe I'll put more per door per year in there. If I know it's going to need more TLC on the maintenance side.
So I know when we're looking, you're talking about spreadsheets and numbers and maybe how you determine things. I know when we're looking at that 48 unit, we were talking about getting some financials, T12. I know you were very much was like, hey, I want the rent roll, right? So what did you feel like in the rent roll? Why was that very, very important? What does the rent roll tell you that says, okay, yeah, this is, this is going to be, getting the expenses up. Yes, that is important, but the rent roll is what I really want to see.
Yeah, well, there's a few things I saw with this property was, there was only 3 vacant units out of 48. Good sign. B, there were a lot of long-term tenants there, people that have been there 6, 7 years or longer. So that means the price is right, people want to stay, or potentially the price could go up and people still would stay if, you know, if it's a nice place, manage it right. What was the other thing I was gonna say? I guess we didn't know that they couldn't find some of the leases, but there were a lot of things we gathered from the financials that told us this place is not managed as well as it could be. So it's an opportunity to manage it better and have a nicer property and make more money, basically.
Thanks for watching this video. If you like what you see, be sure to follow our Generational Wealth Learning series. On select Thursdays, we offer cutting-edge industry information that would normally cost thousands of dollars. And the best part, our education is absolutely free. If you register through our events page, you can join us live, either in person or over Zoom. In the meantime, like this video, comment down below, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss a beat.